Week 11 NFL Power Rankings. Let's get it. All right, number 32, the Detroit Lions. This is a team who hasn't won a game yet, and this is the first time I have them ranked as 32. It's getting harder and harder to defend this team and give them credit. But you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to give them credit. This was an absolutely disgusting game in Cleveland between the Lions and Browns. But the Lions continue to play hard and stay in games till the very end. This is 2 weeks in a row that they almost get a win. And they did that this week with a QB who hasn't thrown a pass since 2019. Not that Jared Goff is any good, because I think he is pure shit. But I'm curious to know how this game would have unfolded had he played. I really want the Lions to win. I really want them to win a game. And I have a feeling that on Thanksgiving Day, they're getting their first win against the shitty Bears. Let's go. Number 31, Jacksonville Jaguars. So I have these two coworkers that became friends that I'm in a group chat with. And all day long, we talk sports. And for 2 or 3 years, all I ever heard from both of them was, wait for Trevor Lawrence to come into the league. He's a new breed. He's built different. He's never lost a game. He's going to dominate the NFL. And I didn't believe any of it. Now, I'm not dismissing the fact that he plays in Jacksonville. And I get it. He shouldn't be winning games yet because Jacksonville is ass. But he at least should be progressing, getting better week to week. And that just doesn't seem to be happening for him. In fact, if anything, it seems like he's getting worse week to week. I still stand by the fact that I think that Urban Meyer is the issue in Jacksonville. These big-name college coaches come into the NFL all the time and suck balls. And then they leave because they can't hack it. I believe that's what's happening with Urban Meyer. I think he's going to be gone real soon. And then I'm curious to see how Trevor Lawrence fares. Will it be too late? Will he be with a different team by then? It depends on how long they stick with Urban Meyer, I think. Number 30, Houston Texans. In a very nasty rainstorm in Nashville this weekend, Tyrod Taylor looked like the Tyrod Taylor that led the Buffalo Bills to the playoffs in 2017. Granted, his numbers were shit, absolute dog shit, but he knew when to take off running, use his legs to move the chains, which ultimately led to an upset win over the Titans. It's got to feel good for a team like the Texans to go into a division rival's stadium as a number 1 seed and knock them down a peg. Fuck yeah, Texans. You still suck, though. Number 29, New Jersey Jets. Yes, the Jets lose again. It's to be expected. The season is all but lost, and I think it's time for the Jets to start thinking about the offseason, the moves they're going to make, who they're going to draft, and reflecting on what was positive in this season. I'm here to tell you, Elijah Moore is fucking good. If and when he gets him a legit QB, or if and when he leaves New Jersey, the man's going to be a stud. Michael Carter's actually looking pretty decent for the Jets as well. If they're able to surround these two with some weapons, Jets may win 8 games sometime soon. Number 28, Chicago Bears. The Bears played the Ravens, and the Ravens came into this game with the worst pass defense in the NFL. So you know what the Bears did against that defense. Fucking nothing. So Justin Fields left the game in the third quarter with a rib injury, and up to that point he had 4 completed passes. 4 completed passes against the worst pass defense in the NFL. Andy Dalton steps in, the Red Rocket, throws a deep pass with some blown coverage for a touchdown and looks like the hero. But after that play, for the rest of the game, Andy Dalton looked like Andy Dalton. And the Bears continued on the path of irrelevancy. Bears need to just go on and fuck straight off. Number 27, New Jersey Giants. I'm trying so hard to be supportive of the Giants. I really am. I always look for the good and the positive in their games. But I can't do that anymore. They're not a good team. Their offensive line is a fucking joke. Specifically, a man named Will Hernandez, who got his ass beat all game long by Tampa's defensive front last night. But good news, Saquon is back, am I right? 6 fucking carries, 25 fucking yards. Kenny Golladay. Dude, this man's body language absolutely screams and suggests that he'd rather be back in Detroit. That's saying a lot, bro. And finally, the Giants have to be wondering if Daniel Jones is the future QB. I feel like this is brought up every week since he's been drafted. And at the moment, he sure doesn't look like that guy. You're not that guy. I don't know, man. Hug a Giants fan if you know one. Number 26, Seattle Seahawks. Last week against the Packers, the Seahawks were shut out in Russell Wilson's return. Now, you could have chalked that up to him just being rusty, even though a shutout, really? But how do you explain this week when he looked just as bad? There are far too many weapons on Seattle's offense for them to be looking this bad. Seahawks dropped to 3-7. Like, I can't believe that's coming out of my mouth. 3-7 for the Seahawks as they lose to the Cardinals. Maybe Geno Smith needs to come back, man. They were actually playing better then. Number 25, Carolina Panthers. I'm back. Shut up. Just shut up. Shut up. I'm so fucking tired of hearing about Cam Newton. This dude was trash in Carolina, and that's why they moved on from him. He was trash in New England, and that's why the greatest head coach ever cut his ass for a non-proven rookie QB. No team wanted to sign him all year long, and in a desperation move, when Carolina loses their starting quarterback, they go and re-sign somebody who's familiar with the system. And then it turned into the Cam Newton show. Like, who the fuck are you? Of course they needed to be this big spectacle because it's Cam fucking Newton. Cam Newton returning to the Panthers is the same as Mark Sanchez returning to the fucking Jets. Just stop it already. Stop! You return to the lineup, you still fucking lost. To a team who doesn't even have a fucking name. Number 24, Cleveland Browns. So the Browns barely win an ugly-ass game against a winless Detroit Lions. There really isn't much more that needs to be said here. The Browns need to just say, hey, we won the fucking game, burn the film, don't even fucking look at it because there was nothing to look at. Baker Mayfield is clearly fucking hurt. Why he continues to go out week after week and struggle and play like ass is beyond me. Whose fault is that? Is he like convincing the coaches that he's okay? All game long, this dude was missing wide open targets. And the interceptions he threw were fucking downright ugly as shit. My favorite part about this game is, despite getting the win, as the Browns walked off the field with a win, the fucking Browns faithful fans booed their asses, as they should. The amount of hype that surrounded this team all offseason, all preseason, and the beginning of the season was all for naught because the Browns are terrible. I think it may be time for Browns fans to start thinking about life beyond Baker Mayfield. And don't worry, if you miss his face, you can always watch one of his 87 fucking commercials at home with Baker Mayfield, which is exactly where the fuck he should be. Number 23, Atlanta Falcons. Matt Ryan is going to get killed, dead, if his offensive line does not start blocking for his ass. And they don't have to be superstars. They just need to be serviceable. The Falcons have scored 3 points in their last 8 quarters of football. 2 games. This is not NFL caliber offense. Granted, they were missing Cordero Patterson. They're obviously missing Calvin Ridley. But come on, offensive line. You gotta give Matt Ryan a chance. He's a decent QB. Number 22, Denver Broncos. Broncos were on a bye week. I had them at 28 last week. They move all the way up to 22. Just because of the shit show that's all underneath them. Number 21, New Orleans Saints. Missing Alvin Kamara again this week, the Saints took a loss right on the fucking chin by the Eagles. This game was not as close as the final score suggests. Saints scored 22 points in fourth quarter in garbage time. The Saints continue to slide down the rankings. With Trevor Siemian as a QB, doesn't look like things are getting much better in New Orleans. Number 20, Miami Dolphins. That's 3 in a row for the Dolphins. The fuck is going on here? Their win against the Jets this weekend puts the Dolphins back in the playoff race absurdly. And their next 3 games are like cupcake wins. We might be looking at the Dolphins being 7-7 after being 1-7. Maybe. But in order for that to happen, Tua is going to have to play well. And I still don't have faith in that man. Sorry. Not sorry. Number 19, Washington. Man, Washington went into Carolina this weekend and bullied that defensive front. That was probably the best offensive performance of Washington's whole season. The run game was on full display, including the ability of Tyler Heineke to escape pressure. He looked good, and their defense came up huge late in the game with 2 back-to-back 4th down stops. Well done. Number 18, Las Vegas Raiders. Josh Jacobs. Kenyon Drake. What the fuck is going on? The Raiders were supposed to be like the Cleveland Browns of last year. The run game was supposed to project them to the promised land. What an absolute crock of shit. Josh Jacobs is proving to be one of the most overrated players in the NFL. And that absolutely fucking kills me because I love Josh Jacobs. The Raiders get beat by the Bengals at home because their offense sucks. That defense played well enough to win the fucking game. I'm so done with the Raiders. I'm so done with them. Number 17, Minnesota Vikings. Was anyone else thinking the Vikings are about to pull a Vikings? You know how they love to give up those late leads. And you can totally see it against Aaron Rodgers and the Packers, Vikings are going to fuck this game up like they always do. And they sure as shit did give up a lead. The Packers went down and tied the game at 31. And then on the next drive, Kirk Cousins throws up a pass that was intercepted by the Packers. And I'm like, yep, that's how that shit goes. But upon further review, the Packers DB, Darnell Savage, could not control the ball on his way down. And it was ruled an incomplete pass. How in the fuck? Vikings moved the ball deep into territory, kicked the field goal at the last second, win the game. Very un-Viking-like. Oh, and by the way, Justin Jefferson is a fucking beast. Number 16, San Francisco 49ers. Now, I know they played the Jaguars. I get it. But the Niners look good. Eli Mitchell, their starting running back, is hurt. So they decide to line up Deebo Samuel in the backfield. Now, mind you, Deebo is the number 2 receiver in the NFL. And this dude went the fuck off. They really need to incorporate him into more running plays, even when Mitchell comes back. But that defense, Joey Bosa is fucking back, man. The man played like a man possessed, and that doesn't just help the Niners defense in regards to getting at the quarterback. It also helps their secondary, who's been a little sus this year. Now, can the Niners string together a couple more games and get themselves in the playoffs? I think they can. Number 15, Buffalo Bills. Monday morning, every player that plays on defense for the Buffalo Bills woke up with cleat marks planted on their face, courtesy of Jonathan fucking Taylor. What an absolute disgrace of a game by the Buffalo Bills. It's a rainy day in Orchard Park, and everyone knows in bad weather you run the fucking ball. Knowing that, how do you not prepare for a man named Jonathan fucking Taylor? The Buffalo Bills allowed the Colts to come into their home and punch them in the fucking throat. The Bills have absolutely no fucking run game. And don't get me started on Josh Allen. The dude is playing like booty. And this is exactly what I was afraid of when he got paid. All my friends thought I was crazy that I was mad about the contract extension. But when you're not playing with the hunger, you're not playing up to your potential. And Josh Allen's a big disappointment right now. Number 14, Philadelphia Eagles. Yes, sir. This Eagles running attack is something fucking special. It's very similar to what the Browns did last year. Getting Miles Sanders back only helps that. It seems like the Eagles are starting to turn things around, and it couldn't be a better time to be doing so. On top of that run game, the Eagles defense is complementing it perfectly. They had another 3 turnovers against the Saints on Sunday. It's quite obvious that the Eagles are back in the playoff race and can definitely make a wild card spot. But can they make a run at the division against the Dallas Cowboys? Number 13, Pittsburgh Steelers. You have to give the Steelers offense credit. Not only did they get back into a game that appeared to be a blowout, but they actually took a fucking fourth quarter lead against a very good Chargers team on Sunday Night Football. But the defense failed them late. They allowed the Chargers to regain the lead for good. That Steelers defense allowed over 500 yards total and 41 points. Doesn't sound like a typical Steelers defense now, does it? But being without TJ Watt and Minkah Fitzpatrick isn't exactly a typical Steelers defense. Let's see how they rebound. Number 12, Cincinnati Bengals. That Bengals defense came out of a bye week on fire. What a performance, seriously. The Bengals offense also possessed the ball for over 15 minutes more than the shitty Raiders. Joe Mixon had himself a fucking day, and the Bengals got a much-needed, very dominant win. And they needed that shit with the AFC North being the way it is. Number 11, Baltimore Ravens. The Ravens look like straight asshole all day in Chicago. Luckily, they were playing the fucking Bears, who also look like shit. But minus Lamar Jackson, this game right here indicated why he is as good as he is, how valuable he is to the Ravens. The Ravens steal a much-needed win in Chicago as the Bengals stay right on their heels. Number 10, Los Angeles Chargers. All right, so the Chargers started the season red hot. Then they went on a slide where they looked like shit. So the Chargers came into Sunday Night Football against the Steelers needing a fucking win. And that's what they got. Justin Herbert played well, throwing for a new career high in yards. And he led his team to a game-winning touchdown after the shitty Chargers defense pissed away a lead. A 17-point lead. I feel like we also need to discuss why Austin Eckler does not get the credit that he deserves. Eckler's one of the top running backs in the league. No one ever talks about that. Why is that? Number 9, Indianapolis Colts. It's only a matter of time before JT makes you think of Jonathan Taylor. Personally, I think of Justin Timberlake. But Jonathan Taylor, to sum up the week, literally all I would have to say is Jonathan Taylor, who had over 200 yards total and 5 fucking touchdowns against the best defense in the NFL. The Bills literally had no answer for him. None. So why would they stop feeding him the ball? It was an excellent game plan. Number 8, Tennessee Titans. As I said earlier, when the weather turns bad, we all know it turns to the run game. And on a day in Tennessee where they saw shitty weather, the Titans missed the shit out of Derrick Henry. Against the Texans, the Titans were forced to rely on Ryan Tannehill. And I don't believe he's a good enough option. And this game showed that. With an opportunity for them to put a fucking stranglehold on the AFC, the Titans get outplayed by one of the worst teams in football, a division rival, Houston Texans. Now, they're still the 1 seed, but they've got teams creeping up their ass. It's a bad loss. Number 7, New England Patriots. Mac Jones looked good again, accuracy-wise. Short passes to your tight ends and your running backs is always going to yield a high completion percentage. But it's this Patriots defense that scares me. Defense is looking tough. I know they played the Falcons, but it was impressive. Patriots pitch a shutout on Thursday Night Football to give them their 7th win, and after a Buffalo Bills loss on Sunday, the Patriots jump into first place in the AFC East. That hurts me right here. Number 6, Los Angeles Rams. Rams were on a bye week. I had them at 6 last week. They're at 6 again this week. But I still say fuck OBJ. Number 5, Tampa Bay Buccaneers. So Gronk returns to the lineup for Tom Brady. He had a decent game, but the story of the night was the Bucs defense. They absolutely dominated the Giants offense, especially their offensive line, on Monday Night Football. The Bucs defensive line lived in the Giants backfield, causing Daniel Jones to make very, very poor decisions. So after looking like poo-poo the last couple of weeks, the Bucs get back in the win column, right their ship, and get back on track. Number 4, Dallas Cowboys. Injury sure did hurt the Cowboys this week against the Chiefs. Tyron Smith, out. Amari Cooper, out. CeeDee Lamb gets injured with a concussion in the middle of the game. Out. But I still feel that this wasn't a good enough excuse for the Cowboys to not get into the end zone against a Chiefs defense that isn't really that good. That's 2 games in 3 weeks that the Cowboys have laid an egg. The silver lining is the Cowboys defense still played pretty fucking well against a really good Chiefs offense. But this for sure was a devastating loss for the Cowboys, and they need to start watching out for them Eagles. Number 3, Green Bay Packers. An excellent comeback against the Vikings fell just short. The offense wasn't the problem in this game. It was just a bunch of mistakes. They had some missed field goals, an interception that wasn't controlled on the way down, some special teams issues, and lots of penalties is the reason why the Packers lost to the Vikings. Now with this division loss, the Packers move out of the 1 seed, but the most concerning news after this game is that Aaron Rodgers has an injured toe after it getting stepped on. More to come on this, because this could be interesting. Number 2, Kansas City Chiefs. Yup, the Kansas City Chiefs. So the knock on the Chiefs this year has been their defense and how it's been playing like crap or it doesn't even exist. However, they held the mighty Cowboys offense in check all game long and kept them out of the end zone and held them to just 3 field goals. This is the 4th consecutive game for the Chiefs where their defense has given up less than 20 points. Not so coincidentally, all 4 of those games have been wins. I'm not sure the Chiefs are going to lose another game. I said it about 4 or 5 weeks ago. I think that the Chiefs are going to get back on track. I'm not writing them off yet. And now I'm promoting them to be the number 2 team in football. I think the Chiefs are about to be scary fucking good. And I believe the AFC Championship game might just be held in Arrowhead Stadium. Number 1, Arizona Cardinals. Colt McCoy had himself another game. The Cardinals never trailed in this game against the Seahawks. And after the moment where the Seahawks seemed like they were mounting a comeback, Colt McCoy shut that shit the fuck down, engineered a beautiful touchdown drive, and squashed the shit out of that threat. The Cardinals continue to win without their starting quarterback and their best wide receiver. It'll be interesting to see what happens when they come back. But they're on a bye week this week. Time for them to get healthy. And then this NFC is going to get real interesting.